Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by former Colgate women's hockey player Olivia Zafuto. Welcome to the podcast, Olivia, and how's everything going? Thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Everything's going well. I'm here in Sweden playing for Linköping and having a good time.
Yeah, that's my first question to you. Was you're currently playing hockey in Sweden? What made you want to go overseas and play hockey, and how has the experience been like there so far?
Yeah, I came over just because of kind of the lack of structure in the U.S. and real steady, I guess, league. So after a year playing the PWHPA and then COVID hit and things were kind of up and down, I decided to come to Sweden last year for, I think it was almost 2 months to play in the playoffs, and I really enjoyed it, and it was kind of like the perfect amount of time to see if I really liked it or if I didn't. And luckily, I liked it. I was obviously on a different team then than I am this year in a different city, but I decided to come back. I knew a few girls that were coming to this team as well, so I thought it'd be awesome, and we're having a great time.
Yeah, what's the country of Sweden like, and how does the whole pandemic affected that country? Because I know they've handled it a little bit different than here in the U.S. just because they tried the herd immunity kind of route, where like basically everything was open in the height of the pandemic, while here everything was shut down. So how have they handled that, and what's the country like right now?
Yeah, it's pretty spot on. Everything's wide open. We don't wear masks. I mean, obviously, people are like safe, sanitary, keeping their distance like when they can, but it's clean. Like, I mean, there's not, the population is obviously a lot different than back home. Um, but I think in September when we were here, they lifted all regulations. There were some capacity limitations at restaurants and whatnot, but yeah, it's pretty wide open, which is really nice for us. We can have fans at the game. I think most people are vaccinated or have, like you said, there's herd immunity, so they've had COVID or they're vaccinated. I don't even really know what the numbers are like. It feels like I'm not even here sometimes in terms of like the media. Like at home, I'm obviously checking and I'm seeing media from home, like, oh, the numbers are high. I don't even know what the numbers are like here, but it seems good. We've lucked out, knock on wood, and we're all staying healthy right now. So it's really nice being here, that's for sure. Not having to wear masks, being able to hang out with your buddies, go to restaurants, do whatever we want. It's been fun.
Yeah, that must have been weird for yourself, just getting to do all those things and then looking back at home during the height of the pandemic and seeing how everything, it's like a much different world. So it's kind of nice that things are somewhat back to normal now. I wouldn't say they're fully back to normal, but it's nice to go back into hockey games in person, which has been something I haven't been able to do in over a year and a half. So
Yeah.
that's kind of weird how just different parts of the world were handling it very differently.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Now, I was doing research on your team that you're currently playing for, and I noticed that you're playing with a good friend of the podcast, Sydney Brott. So what's it like being your teammate? Because I had her on the podcast before, and she's one of the nicest people ever. I have nothing but good things to say about her, and she's obviously one of the best players in women's hockey, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's a stud. Sid's awesome. We were living in the same building at one point, and unfortunately I had to move, but we hang out, we go to coffee, we do everything all the time. She, yeah, aside from hockey, like as a person, just like a phenomenal person, like a great leader, and on the ice, unbelievable. So I didn't actually know her before I came here, so it's been really fun getting to know her and putting a face to the name. Obviously I recognized her, or I played against her, or was at camps with her and whatnot. But it's definitely been really fun. I'm super happy that we're on the same team and able to play together. We're on power play together. It's fun being on the ice with her. So yeah, she's the best.
Now, did you have to adjust your game a little bit playing hockey in Sweden? Like, what's the style of play like? Because it seems it's less physical and more like a lot of skating, and just because the wider ice.
Yeah, that was a good question. We were talking about that when I came here last year. Definitely more skating, yeah, with the bigger ice, but still pretty physical. And I was kind of impressed actually with how much the refs allowed you to be physical. It's a little bit inconsistent in what they do or what they don't call, but pretty physical for like you said, how big the ice is, and how much you really do have to skate. But I mean, for me, I'm a very offensive defenseman, so adjusting my game was just making sure I'm putting myself in the right position, staying inside the dots and not getting too wide. Where when you're playing on a smaller ice surface, the angles are a bit different. So it wasn't a huge adjustment. The style is different depending on the team. Like, you're playing a possession game or you're playing more of a chip and chase game. It depends on the team, but a little bit different than I'm used to. And especially when I was at Colgate, like we were just go, go, go. And I was happy with that. So I think playing on any team would be an adjustment, but the ice, I think it's pretty standard now for me. It doesn't feel much different.
Yeah, that's crazy with the inconsistency, because that's the one reason why I think hitting should be allowed in women's hockey, is just because, like, if you get a ref that's super strict on body checking, it could change the whole outcome of the game versus a ref that isn't. And I feel like the refereeing should be consistent throughout the board, so what type of game you're going to get. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but that's like one of the
Oh,
main reasons. I don't think most people talk about that reason though for allowing
yeah,
body checking.
yeah, I definitely agree. I had quite a few and too many penalty minutes my senior year in college. So it really would have benefited me if we were allowed to hit and have body checking in our game. But what can you do?
Yeah, well, I was looking through some photos just from the Frozen Four your senior year, and there was a photo of you versus Wisconsin. Obviously, that game was super intense, but there's just like a few photos of just how physical that game was. So I don't know if you had the
Yeah,
chance to see any of them.
yeah. There's pictures everywhere. That was an unreal experience. But honestly, like the NCAA tournament, it was tough. Like even when you get there, the games are refed differently than we had all year. Like I would say the NCAA tournament, they let a lot more physicality go, and I think it benefits my game. I love being physical; it gets me into the game more. Um, and I kind of play, a little bit risky and on the edge sometimes, so it benefits me and I like it. But yeah, that that whole weekend was fun and physical
Hmm.
battles.
Is
Yeah.
there has there any been physicality you've been involved with the Swedish league? Just because I remember seeing a video that you like posted in your story where like I don't know if you threw the check or you got checked, but it was pretty fun. It was like right after the whistle.
Yeah, I got hit. I wasn't expecting it. It was just
Yeah.
funny. A funny thing. Yeah, I got hit, but yeah, I mean, been involved in a lot. They actually, I mean, not fighting here, but like, there's a bit more after the whistle that happens sometimes than um, I would say what happens in college at least. And obviously it's a little bit different. Um, I think with NCAA and just rules, it's in general, I think they do let a little bit more go, like pushing and stuff here after the whistles, which is kind of fun. But um, eh, I mean, we did have one fight on our team last year. You get suspended, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just I'd say a little bit more lenient after whistles and stuff, but it's kind of fun that way.
Yeah, I've never seen a fight in women's hockey before, so that would definitely be something that I'll be curious to see. Because with women's hockey, it's more like should checking be allowed in the game, and then with men's hockey, should fighting be allowed in college hockey? So I
Yeah,
and I feel like it's harder to fight with the cages on that you guys have.
yeah. I don't know if there's like as much of a point of fighting. Like you're just
Yeah,
punching someone in the cage, but yeah.
yeah, no, definitely. So that I definitely gotta check that out if there's a video out there. But besides playing hockey in Sweden, what else have you been up to after graduating college?
I was at the year after I graduated, I was playing in the PWHPA. That was the first year it started. So I was in Buffalo, and living with a few friends in an apartment. My family's in Niagara Falls; it's close, and I was actually working as a substitute teacher in the school district in Niagara Falls. So that was a good time, and I was doing a lot of coaching actually. I coached the Nichols prep team, the girls prep team, and I was helping coach Niagara 19U girls team. And then last year I was actually helping out with the Buffalo Junior Sabres. It was 9U youth team. So just a lot of coaching, different stuff with the Sabres. They have some different programs that like to get youth involved and learn to play. So it was kind of cool in Buffalo, at least, getting involved, in the community, and we went into some schools and we're teaching floor hockey on behalf of like the Sabres and stuff. So working, trying to, live the dream as long as I can, doing what I could to continue to play, and decided, it was time to come to Sweden so I could actually focus on playing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad that things have been going well. You seem pretty busy since graduation. So now I want to transition and talk about the beginning of your hockey career and kind of work all the way up to where you are now, I guess. So you're from Niagara Falls, New York, like you just said. So talk about growing up there and how'd you start playing hockey?
Yeah, I started playing when I was 5, I think. It was dance for a year and I hated it. So my brother was playing hockey and I wanted to play. So we built a rink in the backyard every year, and um, just went out and skated with my brother and my dad, and had a great time, and just started playing house when you're young, and then come mites we were playing travel hockey. But I actually played boys hockey until grade 8, maybe 13. I was when I changed to play with the girls, which was awesome. And at that time, girls hockey wasn't as big in Buffalo. There weren't a ton of teams, but there was one year when I played with the boys that I was kind of on a girls and a boys team. But at that point, it was tier 2 for the girls, so I wanted to play tier 1. So I went and played my 8th grade year for the Buffalo Bisons, coached by Tom Iafallo. I don't know if you know Jules Iafallo. She was an Ohio State alum, but that was my first year playing just girls, and it was awesome. I had a great time, and then after that, yeah, I decided to go to Nichols to further my education and hockey. I mean, it was the only place I could really, play hockey for my school and focus on hockey more so.
Is Jules Iafallo related to Alex Iafallo? I know he plays in
Yeah,
the
brother.
NHL. Oh, that's
Yep.
awesome. That's a cool
Yeah.
hockey family.
Oh yeah, they're unbelievable. They're like the best family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, growing up, who was your favorite player? Was it someone on the Sabres or was it a female player on the national team?
Yeah, it was Maxim Finneganov. Loved him. We're big Sabres fans. I mean, Bills, you name it, like Buffalo sports. So we used to go to we still have season tickets, but we used to go to games growing up with our dad, my brother, my mom, and dad. We loved going, and yeah, Maxim Finneganov. We're kind of being let down now compared to
Mhm.
when we were young and we went to Sabres games, but hopefully they'll get back there.
Yeah, I have to ask what's your thoughts on the Eichel trade since that happened recently.
Oh, yeah. I mean, great player. You never know what's going on behind the scenes. And it's such a business. It sucks. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose a good player, but we never really know what's going on. So he
Yeah.
had his surgery. It's probably best for him, and it's tough that he wasn't able to do it in Buffalo. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for him that he got the chance to do his surgery and he was very honest about it and was like, this is what I want to get. And if they won't let me get it, then I don't want to play for the organization anymore. So I have to
yeah,
respect them on that. Like, I think
yeah,
personally, I don't think a team should not allow someone to get the surgery that they think they need.
yeah. I don't agree with that either. That's crazy to me. I mean, like, you're human. You got
Mhm.
human beings. It's pretty bad, a bad look, I think, and I don't know anybody involved in it, but yeah, something didn't seem right there.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I will say for Eichel's sake is I hope it works out because then other players can able to do that surgery and it can help
Right.
make their careers longer. Because I think what he was saying was he felt like the surgery was going to help him after his playing career, just
Yeah,
because he didn't want to have neck pain after you stop playing hockey. Because you got to think about that as well, which is something that I wouldn't consider.
yeah, not many people would. I definitely agree with that.
Now, kind of transitioning back to your career. So, you before Colgate, you played for the Nichols School, like you just said. So, and you were the captain of that team for a few years. So, just talk about that experience and what'd you take away from it?
Yeah, I thought those were the best 4 years of my life at Nichols, and then I went to college, and it just kept getting better. But I had the best experience. Another great coach that I was lucky to have was Scott Welch. He had 4 daughters. They all played Division 1. Um, you know, we had such a great team. I mean, most of our team went and played Division 1 or Division 3 hockey somewhere, and if you weren't playing hockey, you were playing another sport. And so just awesome, such a family. We had so much fun together. And then obviously, like you said, captain, my senior year, it was awesome, to just learn how to be a leader, I guess, before going to college, and take away some things that could help me in life. I don't know. I always tried to have a super like close team, and be pretty family oriented within our team. So yeah, it was a good time. I definitely miss it. It feels like so long ago, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wow, like I wish we could go back. But yeah, just always try to be positive, and bring people in, and have people want to be there. Obviously, it's not college, but we were on the ice every day, like you were in college. You'd go to school your 6 hours, whatever it was, and then you'd come to the rink and you'd have practice, or you'd have games, and we played a fair amount of games. So alongside of practicing every day, we were super busy, and just making sure people had fun. I'm all about having fun on the ice, around the rink. So just tried to bring that energy as a leader.
Yeah, definitely. Well, everyone plays hockey to have fun. No one plays hockey to, I don't know, like, I don't know. I feel like that's the whole reason why everyone starts, is because it's a fun sport to play. So you got to keep that in the back of your head, even if you're in the NHL, or just playing like pond hockey outside.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Now, just how did your experience at Nichols help prepare you for college hockey with Colgate?
Yeah, the hockey, well, I guess I could start with school, which is a big one, but like just the education itself prepares you at Nichols, prepares you for college in general. We have a lot of similarities in the free time, and how your schedule is planned, and the books you're reading, the papers you're writing, a lot to prepare you for college and life after. But I think that made it a big difference going to college, and then also with hockey, just not being as stressed about school. I mean, it obviously wasn't easy transitioning, but it was a little bit easier, I think, than some people had, just because I was a little bit more prepared. And in hockey itself, yeah, I was ready. I was used to going on the ice every day, and having to compete every day. And I mean, the level, I don't think there's anything that will ever fully prepare you for college. The level of play you'll have to bring in college, compared to when you're in high school, there's always an adjustment. But I think it helps that at Nichols, a lot of times during breaks or whatnot, alum would come back and we'd play against them, or we'd practice together, and that kind of brought the quality up in the play and the speed. So I felt a bit more prepared than I had expected, maybe. But there definitely was still an adjustment going into college. You're never as prepared for the speed and how quick you have to make decisions, but you get used to it.
Yeah. And what's the best memory you have with Nichols when you look back on it now?
Oh, I'd have to say, like, my junior year in general. I mean, we lucked out. We were really really good in all my years. We actually won. We were in two different leagues. We won both leagues all. We won one league all 4 years, and we won the other league three of the four. And so just like, I don't know, my junior year though is one that really sticks out. We had such an amazing team. It's funny that I had the junior year in high school and college that really stick out. But like, our team was amazing. That we were all so close. We hung out together. We did everything together. And one thing at Nichols was fun. I know it's different now, but when we were there, we'd travel to games on the coach bus, obviously, and our parents would come on the bus with us. So it was just fun, like, to have parents around, and everybody got along. There was never issues. All the parents got along. Everybody was happy to be there. And, we just did everything we could together. And obviously when things are clicking off the ice, it helps on the ice. And we lucked out and, won our leagues and in a lot of games. So yeah.
Now, what was your recruitment process like to Colgate, and what made you want to go to Colgate versus other schools you might have looked at?
Yeah, that was actually, Colgate was the first school I looked at. I don't know. I'm not sure if I remember exactly why or how it started. But we in Buffalo, Scott Welch, our coach, actually ran quite a few camps that brought in college coaches and stuff. So, and he's very, very connected in the hockey community and with college coaches. So people were always watching us and our teams and our high school teams. So I really lucked out to have him and Dave Smith, who's actually a college hockey coach for RPI men's team. They were both coaches at one point, and I lucked out and just had some great people in my corner, I think, to get going with the recruiting process and, teach me what I should be looking for, how I should be talking, and just kind of look at things outside of hockey too. Like, obviously academics was huge for me. Like, for girls, it sucks, but it's the truth is, after college, like, who knows if you can't make a living playing hockey. So who knows what you're going to do. So the academics was a big one for me. Colgate obviously is a great academic school. And not to mention, you go there, it's beautiful. So, I visited quite a few schools, just to see what I liked. I didn't love the big schools. So why I continued to visit them, I don't know. And my final two choices, it was Ohio State and Colgate, like polar opposites. One's huge, one's not. So, yeah, I think that, just seeing what I liked and talking to coaches and whatnot, it was fun. It was a stressful time, I guess, but I tried to enjoy it. And I'm really happy with the decision I made.
Yeah, and you were talking about how, like, going from Nichols to Colgate, there were some adjustments you had to make. So what was the biggest adjustment you had to make to college hockey? Was it just kind of just the whole speed of the game, or was it, since you're going against older players for the first time in a while, is that an adjustment?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you ask. I had to play forward my freshman year of college because we had some number issues. So it was one, adjusting to being a forward. I did play forward a little bit in high school, just at different times, and I always had a great time. But I mean, in college, it's different. Like, the speed is different. Getting going, getting passes off the wall, protecting yourself, with D pinching down and whatnot. The beginning was fun. I wasn't super worried, but then as the year goes on and more is kind of expected of you from your coaches and whatnot, things obviously got tough. You go up and down, you have different things that happen. But yeah, I mean, that was one of the hardest parts for me was having to switch positions on top of the speed. But got used to it, and then I ended up transitioning back to D the next year. So didn't really matter, I guess.
Is it harder to play D or forward in college hockey?
Forward is more skating, so I'm happy to play. I'm happy to play D. It's more tiring for sure playing forward, but harder. I don't know. I'd just say it's more skating. It's different skating. But to be honest, I didn't play a ton of defense anyway when I was playing defense. So
Yeah.
my teammates loved to. We always talked about it. We all joke about it. I was like the fourth forward on the ice. So,
Mhm.
Was what it was.
Yeah, I personally like playing forward. Not, I think the one thing about playing D that's nice is you get more ice time. But
Yeah.
playing forward, I don't know. I like scoring goals.
Yeah.
I played wing. That was my position. So I'm a forward person. So I could never go back to D. I think that would be I feel like as a forward, it'll be tougher to transition to defenseman than it is for defenseman to
Yeah.
transition to forward.
Yeah, I definitely think it'd be harder. It was harder when I went from forward to D. There was some adjusting and, skating backwards and
Yeah.
doing everything D zone again. But I did play a little D my freshman year, like on the power play or in practice or at times, but yeah, it's still not the same.
Yeah, well, one time in youth hockey, we had ran out of goalies, so I had to be goalie for a game. That was probably the toughest transition I've had to do in hockey,
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
it was so fun though. Playing goal was fun. I will say that.
That's great.
Now, during your freshman year, your class helped the team make a lot of improvements for that season compared to the previous one before you were a member of the team. So, what did your team do during that off season to make such improvements, and what role did your freshman class play in that? Because it seemed like that was the first class that Greg Fargo recruited, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know if he recruited everybody in the class above me. I think so. They were the first full class, but yeah, our two classes, a lot of us were committing together, and yeah, it was pretty cool. All of us going in, like, we all committed to Colgate when, they hadn't won a ton of games, and um, the coaching staff was great. They had a vision, and we all kind of bought in. Between our two classes, there were 15 of us. But yeah, I mean, my freshman year, obviously they had some tough times the year before. I think maybe like 7 wins or something. But going in, we came in and we had an unbelievable leadership group, and maybe one of the best humans I know in Caitlin Parker. I think she's been on the podcast as well. But just an unbelievable person, and maybe one of the best leaders I've ever had in my life. Really, I have nothing but the best things to say about her. So I think that went a long way for us. Everybody was bought in, and we really wanted to do things and do everything that season and play the right way. Like I'd say for the seniors, like they had been through everything, and our relationship with them, like we were all super close, and again, like that family, and that's one of the reasons why I chose Colgate, was just you get that family and community feel with the team and on campus. But it just went such a long way my freshman year. Vivid memories of everything, and coming in and getting to know the team, and hanging out. But yeah, I mean, the off season, I don't know what the team did beforehand. Obviously, we us coming in as freshmen, we worked our butts off in the summer. They sent us programs that we could do, and um, I was lucky to know a lot of the girls, so I was in contact with them, and we went to camps and stuff over the summer at Colgate. So you kind of got a feel for what it was going to be like, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and I had Caitlin Parker on, and I know her mostly as a coach, but all the
Yeah.
players from UConn that she was the assistant coach for said she was one of the best coaches that they've ever had. So I've never heard a bad thing about Coach Parker.
I don't think there's a person that has a bad thing to say about her. Like it's incredible. She's an incredible human. I have to say, yeah.
Yeah, no, the Seattle Kraken are lucky to have her as a coach because I
Oh
think that's
yeah.
what she's up to now.
Yeah, they're so lucky to have her. I still keep in touch with her. Obviously, being in Sweden, it's hard with the time zone and whatnot. But yeah, she's back home. She's back in her the old stomping ground. She hasn't been back for a while, so
Yeah.
I'm happy for her, and obviously happy for them. They're very lucky to have her.
Now, going into your sophomore year, you won your first playoff series. You beat Harvard in a tough 3-game series. What did you learn from that series? And just talk about being a good team. And how did it help you for your upperclassman year, winning that playoff series? Just because I feel like that was kind of a pivotal moment in your career. Because I think that series helped what happened in your junior year, just because you knew how to win playoff games, especially in the ECAC, which I think is one of the toughest playoffs that any conference has to go through.
Yeah, I definitely think that propelled us in the years to come. Like, I mean, my sophomore year wasn't amazing, or as a team, and as we didn't do amazing, but just getting that win and beating Harvard, under our belt, and beating a team like that, it definitely gives you confidence going forward. And in the years to follow, it was kind of like that next bump you have to get over. Getting to the playoffs was one thing, and then it was winning a playoff series was the next, and it was just, yeah, that was like an incredible memory that I have. Kind of a whirlwind of a year. We had just lost to Harvard the weekend before, and we thought we were going to be on the road for that series, and Cornell ended up upsetting them the next game, and we got to host, and having our fans and everybody there, our families, it was really fun, and it definitely gave us confidence, yeah, moving forward, and just experience, I guess, for our freshman class, the sophomores, the class above us. It another building block for us, in knowing what it takes to win games, and especially win games in the playoffs. It definitely helped us moving forward.
Yeah, I'm actually going to visit Harvard's rink this year. Is that the best road arena that you've ever played in?
Um, I mean, the Minnesota rink itself was maybe the nicest rink. Um, Harvard is nice, but when I think of, I don't know, I guess when I think more of playing games and playing on the road, like I loved playing at Clarkson and Cornell. I mean, I didn't love playing at Cornell. We never won a game in there, but it was just fun to play in there. Like the atmosphere was fun. And in Clarkson, we did pretty well in their building, from what I remember. probably pretty close to splitting. Maybe we had a little edge on them at time. I don't remember exactly, but just the atmosphere, like there's nothing that compares to, Pet fans being there and rowdy fans. And the reality is in women's hockey, it's not like that everywhere. So definitely some special memories in those rinks, just in terms of the atmosphere. Obviously, we hated playing in Lina at Cornell for different reasons, but it was fun to play there. You didn't need anything more to get you ready for the game.
Yeah, I heard they don't play warm-up music there, which I don't know if I would be a fan of. It's like Pet Man music that they play during
Yeah,
warm-ups. I don't know if
yeah, it's a
I
bit
would
of a
like
mix.
that, honestly.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mix from what I recall. I don't remember exactly, but
I've
yeah,
never
a bit
been
of
there before. Someone just told me that, so that's what I
yeah,
assume.
yeah. I don't remember exactly, but fun nonetheless.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now it's kind of transition and talk about the historical junior season that your team had. At what point did you kind of realize that your team was capable of making the national championship game? Was it like during the summer, or was it like towards the beginning of the season?
Yeah, honestly, we went on a retreat our first month, sometime in September, one of the first weekends, and we're sitting around the campfire talking. We're talking about what the year's going to be like, and we kind of just got down to like fears, I guess, maybe for the season, or like what we thought was holding us back from being the best. And we left that retreat saying like, wow, like we could win a national championship this year. And it's kind of surreal to say, or crazy to think about it now. Like, did we really know at the beginning of the season? But I mean, we had all the pieces of the puzzle. Like, we had 15 upperclassmen, we had goaltending, we had players in every position. Had so much depth. I think we had three lines that you couldn't even tell the difference of a 1, 2, 3, and not to mention a fourth line that is playing. So playing, fairly regular minutes. It goes a long way, and especially in a long season like that. But yeah, I would say we felt it from the beginning. We felt that we could be one of the best teams in college hockey. And obviously, as the season went on, it was like, wow, like this is real. Like, you've got to pinch yourself, but it was real. And then obviously come playoffs, and I think based on NCAA and the RPI, whatever, we knew, I think, going into playoffs, we would make the NCAA tournament, which didn't change our mindset to how we were going to do. Obviously, we wanted to win the league, but it was a cool moment.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that ECAC tournament that year. I know your team lost in the final, but what did you take away from that tournament heading into the national tournament that season?
Yeah, I mean, it was such a bummer. We lost, I think, 3-0 or something to Clarkson. And to be honest, we said, you know what, it is what it is. We're going to see him again. We'll get the better of him next time. And unfortunately, we didn't. But it was sad. It was heartbreaking for sure. Our seniors, we wanted to do it for them. It was another, like one less game, and one more thing that we could have added to everybody's, resume. But it didn't, it was bummer, but it didn't change anything for us. It wasn't like we didn't feel like we were letting anybody down, or it was a failure just because we lost that game. Obviously, we were going to the NCAA tournament, so that makes a big difference. But that was our mindset. It was like, all right, we lost, like it's a bummer, but we're going to see him again. Like we know we're going to see him again.
Yeah, and in the national tournament that year, you guys got to host. What was that like, being in your home crowd atmosphere? And you also beat a great Northeastern team that year. And people don't realize that was like the Northeastern's first time in the tournament. So, and obviously, when you look at the team now, I feel like that experience kind of helped them out as
Oh
the
yeah.
success they had. But what was it like playing that team in the early stages of like their building that great program? And what was it like playing at 1965 Arena in Hamilton?
Yeah, that was probably one of the coolest moments for us in that whole year was getting to host, and our families were there. And unfortunately, it was, I think, spring break or some kind of break for the school, so there weren't a ton of like students on campus, but there were other athletes and in the community. Like it was pretty packed arena, the most fans obviously we'd ever gotten, and a whole number of things, tailgates and this and that. And it was, I just remember like pulling up and seeing people. It was cool. It was definitely something we tried to take in, and not to mention, the game. We had played Northeastern earlier that season, and we knew heading in that they were a completely different team. Honestly, in the beginning of the season when we played them, we beat them. I want to say we scored 5 goals or something in each game, and that was kind of when when they started transitioning into their big studs playing. I think that first weekend Aaron Frankel ended up playing. They were debating back and forth between their goalies early in the season, and then come playoff time, it was they were a much better team, and I think obviously it's bound to happen. You're going to improve over the season, you hope, but that was our mindset going in. Our coaches definitely emphasized like, hey, like we can't think about what happened earlier this year. They're a different team, and it's one game, like you only have one game, you got to bring it. So it was fun. I think we went down 1-0 to start, but then I think, I actually am not positive, but it was fun. I remember we scored a couple power play goals, and it was pretty electric in the rink.
Yeah, and I think for that Northeastern team, like that was their first. I think that was like Skylar Fontaine, who's obviously a big player for them now.
Mm,
That was their first, like that class's
yeah,
first like national tournament experience. So
yeah,
it was kind of cool to see like how they after that loss kind of helped them out for this year's or last year's tournament run. But no, that's a pretty
yeah.
cool game. And isn't it kind of weird playing at your home rink, but like it's technically like a neutral site game, right? So did you have
Yeah.
to sit in like your visitor locker room for that game, or no?
No, we were allowed to keep our locker room.
All right.
I think it was also partly because we were the higher seed.
Yeah.
I don't think you would ever play a game if you weren't the higher seed at your home arena, obviously. But
Oh yeah.
no, we got to keep our locker room, and there's only one visitor locker room in the new rink, so we weren't staying there. But no, it obviously makes a difference when you're playing it in front of your home crowd. But it's a neutral site. We have like something that's pretty known at our rink is like a really loud horn. I'm pretty sure they had to play it either for both teams when either team scored, or they weren't playing it at all. So it's a little weird when you're like, oh, it's neutral, but it wasn't neutral. And I mean, it's only 3 hours for me from home. So having, family come, it was awesome.
Yeah, I know for the hockey's tournament a few seasons ago, Providence was the host. However, they had to like play in their visitors because they were technically like not the higher seed. I just think that was so weird
Yeah.
to do everything
Yeah.
like opposite, like playing the visitors like locker room and stuff. I think that's not fair. I feel like if you're playing your home arena, you might as well just keep your locker room.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of a weird thing that happens like that.
Yeah. Well, then you went on to beat Wisconsin in the semifinals, and to this day, that's one of the best like hockey games I've ever seen. It was electric. That whole Frozen Four was awesome, by the way. 3 overtime
Yeah.
games, I'm pretty sure, for all those
Yeah.
3 games.
All of them.
So,
Yep.
but what was it like to beat that team in overtime? Because everyone was considering them to be the favorites for the national tournament that year. And what was it like to finally kind of move on to the national championship game after beating Wisconsin?
Yeah. That game was unbelievable. Not to mention, so the game was late anyway. It was maybe like an 8 or 8:30 start, and the game ahead of us went into overtime. So our game got pushed back, and we're sitting around. We're like, oh man, like what are we gonna do? It's getting late and late, and then we go into overtime, and then double overtime, and it's like 1 in the morning. We're just finishing the game. Like it was crazy. You're in Minnesota, so obviously the Minnesota fans are rooting for you. I just remember looking up in the crowd, and like people in Minnesota jerseys are running around. We had fat heads there. They're running around with our fat heads. They were all like rooting for us, which was awesome. We wanted all the help we could get, and I think we lucked out in both games that we had everybody was rooting for us, I think, minus Wisconsin and Clarkson fans, just because those other two teams are always there. And I mean, for lack of better words, nobody you hate them because they're always winning, and they're good. So
Mhm.
I think that just, finally, yeah, playing a team like that, I mean, that really goes a long way. And it was just insane. Like
Yeah.
something you can't even imagine or dream of, I guess. You know, I think our goalie stopped 80 shots or something. Like it was insane. And maybe maybe a game we were way outplayed, but hey, the scoreboard, we won on
Yeah.
the scoreboard, and that's all that matters. So
Yeah, no one
yeah.
remembers that other things that happened in the game as long
Uh,
as you win or lost. So that's how I view it sometimes. But I remember that was the Brianne Wilson Bennett game. She was just outstanding. I think she scored a hat trick in that game. So
yeah,
that was like
yeah,
the thing I remember the most.
yeah, it was awesome.
Now
Really
what
awesome.
Now, what was it like, kind of like the atmosphere like in the Frozen Four? Because I'm planning to go to the Frozen Four in Boston this year for the men's tournament, and everyone's saying it's like super awesome. It's like kind of like a cool experience. Like the pep bands are there. It's I know you
Yeah.
guys don't get to experience as women's players, but in the NHL arena is pretty cool. So, what's it like? Just the whole atmosphere and kind of like the red carpet experience and all that stuff you got to experience.
Yeah, the red carpet is real. There really is a red carpet. We drive up and we walk out on the red carpet. We have a scheduled time, and it's actually a funny story. We were driving to our game, and we're sitting on the bus, and it's taking forever. We're like, what's going on? Why aren't we why aren't we at the rink yet? It's coming up on 2 hours of being there, and we were actually waiting for our scheduled arrival on the red carpet. But side story, it was a funny moment. We had one girl like GPSing, and it was great. But yeah, I mean, it's an unreal event. Everything. There's just something about college hockey. I don't know, or not even college hockey, college sports and March Madness, you name it. Like people just get so excited, and me too. It's fun. It's cool to have passionate fans, and it's a business, but it is more of a family, and your families are involved, and it's a big step, I think, in people's lives, playing college sports and whatnot. So um, just yeah, the atmosphere is insane. You'll experience it. It's super fun. I haven't been to a men's Frozen Four, but I mean, I can only imagine, with all the fans and it being in Boston especially. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. TD Garden, college hockey, it doesn't get any better than that. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a super fun experience, especially since that's where all the best teams in college hockey come to play. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
yeah.
Now, for your experience in the Frozen Four, when you walked on the red carpet, I'm assuming you had to have the best outfit on of all time because I'm assuming they're taking pictures and stuff. Like, I know for pregame, I know a lot of people care about the pregame outfit, but I feel like for that one, you got to go all out.
I don't have the best style, so I was struggling in the style department, I would say, but I've been working on it, now. But it was fun. It was actually pretty cold, pretty chilly-ish in Minnesota. It was the end of winter. I guess we were into spring, but yeah, pea coats, you name it, just
Yeah.
look professional. But there's pictures from it. We had a good time, smiles and high-fiving and hugging your family. Like it's it's awesome, and it gives me chills, like sitting here thinking about it. Like, you're walking in, and you're hugging your parents and everybody that's been there for you like your whole life, so it was, a cool experience, and grateful for, honestly, the community that came from Hamilton and from Colgate itself. Like we had a great following to Minnesota. People flew there, and seeing them, it gets you fired up for the game. And you're playing for, obviously, your team and your school, but you're playing for so much more than that, or at least I was, and I think we were. And we were there really to represent a lot of people, and a lot of effort, and you know everything behind the scenes. So it was a cool moment that we didn't even know. It was a surprise for us. Obviously, we'd never been there, so we didn't know. But yeah, really a really special moment to pull up and see for the first time, like, oh, like all your family, your friends, the pep bands marching you in. So really, really awesome.
Who was the best dressed for that red carpet? I'm trying to think of some of your teammates from that year. I can't. I feel like I don't know. I can't think of anyone.
I don't really remember, but typically we had like Annika Zaleski, one of my best friends, great style. Lauren Wildfang, usually pretty well dressed. Um,
Shelby Wood, I feel like, was probably very well dressed.
Shelby Wood was probably pretty high up there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably in there with those three. I'm trying to think in my class. I'd have to go with those three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's like for me personally, like I don't know if I would have to go a little pop off style if I knew there was gonna be red carpet. So
Yeah. We didn't know, so
yeah,
we went with what we brought.
yeah, no, that's it probably worked out as just as fine.
It worked.
So
Yeah, it
now
worked.
you lost to Clarkson in the national championship game. What emotions were you feeling after that loss, knowing you lost the championship game? I feel like I don't know. Everyone talks about what it's like winning a national championship, but no one talks about what it's like losing a national championship because you make it all the way and to come up short. I don't know. I feel like it would just be. I don't know like how I'd handle it to be honest with you, but
Yeah.
especially the way it happened, like a breakaway overtime
Yeah.
winner, like that's I've never
Yeah.
seen that before.
Honestly, every day I'm like, oh, I'm over it. But like, I don't know if it's ever going to be any easier thinking about it, you know? It's still heartbreaking. You still feel those emotions and whatnot. And it was so sad. Like after it happened, it's like, wow, like how can we be upset? We made it to the national championship. We talked about so much that year. Like not every team gets to play on the last day of the season. Like we were playing one of two teams on the last day of the season. And like it's heartbreaking, but how could you be upset that you lost, but also you made it this far and you came up short, you know? And it's not something we look back on and say, oh, like the year that was, you know, a failure, you know, or anything like that. It was just, we learned, you know,
Mhm.
I think you probably learn a lot more losing than you do winning.
Yeah.
You take, you know, things going forward. It hurts. It's hard, but again, that year, like we were so close. We were such a family. Like it didn't feel like we lost in the end. The spring, you know, like everything you imagine in college after, like it didn't feel like we lost.
Yeah.
We came back to campus and we got back at I don't know, like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and in it was the Sunday after break and all the students had just got back to campus, and we walk into the rink and it's filled with other student athletes, you know, like cheering us on and clapping us. And yeah, you're like, you've been crying all night, you know, or something and upset that you lost. I mean, you see that and it's like, wow, like that's when you know you picked the right school, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that would happen at every school that you lose and people are still there. They're rooting for you and congratulating you on everything. So, you know, the day still hits hard.
Yeah.
we send pictures to each other of, you know, joking now, like after the game we're upset or whatnot, or we joked about, you know, oh, we're national champions, and we'd say like runner ups, you know. So
Yeah.
it never gets easier, but you know, as the time has gone on, like trying to move on, but we learned a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was an experience. So
Well, I don't know if you know any, like, have you seen people from Clarkson since that game, like played with them? Is it kind of weird, like seeing them after that game?
yeah, it's crazy. We hated each other and it it's funny you say that. I talked to, you know, a bunch of different Clarkson people, and I lived with Savannah Harmon. You know, great people. You hated them for
Yeah.
4 years. And we joked so much about the times and what happened, but you know, great people off the ice.
Oh yeah.
So many that I've met. But yeah, it's funny. We definitely joke. We're like, oh, we hated each other. You know, we used to talk so much about you guys and this and that. So it's definitely cool to hear the stories. Like, oh, what did your team think, or
Yeah. From the other side.
whatnot. So I couldn't say I was like the most liked person on the ice because I was always up to no good. But I hope that off the ice people are like, wow, like a different person, hopefully, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't say portray myself the way I carry myself off the ice, which I don't know. Hopefully people think that.
Yeah, no, Savannah Harmon, what a stud. I think
Mm.
she's on the centralization roster for Team USA. So I wish her
She
nothing
better
but the
be on
best.
the final roster. She's a stud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, no, it was awesome watching her play, and I had her on the podcast before as well. So
Yeah.
great person.
Yeah, she's another one. We lived together, us, Annika Zaleski, and then Emily Janiga, actually, the year after I graduated in Buffalo. We had an apartment together. We had so much fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, what happens like after the game? Like you just go in the locker room and just head home. It's like pretty boring. It's not like you have like the party like in the locker room if you won the championship.
You know what? We sat around, um, bummed, and our coach came in and he's like, what do you say? And to be honest, I think we might have played our win song anyway. It was one of those feelings that it was like, you know what? One last time, like we didn't win the game, but we won that year by
Mhm.
far. Like there was nothing that could break that bond that we all shared, I think, as a team and with the community, your alum, like everybody felt like one, everybody dealt with the heartbreak all the same. And we went up and our, our parents are upset and, they're trying to help us and whatnot. But yeah, I want to say we sat around, obviously, upset for a bit. Our coaches came in, you make some jokes, people handle situations different way. There's some laughs because of how close we were and that point that we were at, and there was no changing what happened on the ice. And yeah, we partied anyway.
Yeah.
We had runner-up parties, that's for sure, afterwards, not in the locker room, but yeah, before we didn't miss out on the on the
Yeah.
partying just because we lost.
I would be devastated because I remember when the Bruins lost the Stanley Cup final, and I just remember like I was so upset, and like I don't know, I feel like I would just be like I wouldn't like want to do anything at least that night.
Yeah,
I don't know, like that's just the way I would handle it. Maybe because I'm like a
yeah,
competitive
you're
person.
you're you're spot on. The one thing, like when we got back to campus, it was a Sunday night, so obviously like, things aren't open and people are just getting back, but all we wanted to do was like be with each other. I just remember we all went up to the dining hall, like all 24 of us, like sitting around the dining hall, hanging out, literally in the middle of the night. Like none of us wanted it to end. I don't think, it was once you left each other, it was like real and really going to hit you. So that spring, I mean, we did that everything following, like we were together the whole time, every day we were doing something. It was just like taking in every moment and reliving things too, together, but definitely heartbreaking. Yeah.
Now, talk about your senior year. What was that like, and what do you take away from that whole year? How'd you like bounce back from that loss?
Yeah, it was tough going in, like you're trying to think, oh, like we want to do everything the same and prepare the same way, but in reality, like we needed to change some things. We didn't win. We made it, but we didn't win. And it was hard losing seven seniors that had a big impact, not only on the ice but off the ice, like big personalities between our two classes. Like it was crazy. And we didn't know Colgate without that class. We looked up to them and we wanted to do everything with them. And now it was like, oh, us eight are I think we had eight. Yeah, us eight are what people are hopefully looking up to now. And I wasn't a captain, but just like trying to be a leader and trying to get people to buy in. We definitely had our ups and downs. We struggled on the ice, off the, not really off the ice, but just being a family and trying to earn that trust between everybody and have that feeling. And I think we got it. We were very close my senior year as well. Like we did everything together in all my years at Colgate, but we still, we're close. And I think it was hard for sure at times, because you just want to win all the games and whatnot. And you kind of have your coaches are preaching, like, you gotta teach the freshmen and teach this and teach that, which we didn't have to deal with in the years past, because there were so many of us between the two classes, so it's a little bit of a weight that you feel on your shoulders, but a weight that I enjoyed carrying, like I loved, and I love, meeting people and welcoming people and encouraging people and hopefully like bringing them in to be their best and trying to create like that positive atmosphere, and make things fun. But it definitely was hard at times to be consistent with it. Like, you're you're going on year 4 and you have different injuries and this or that and frustrations, but trying to keep that attitude, and that positive energy. Like I'm so loud, my teammates hate me. I'm so annoying around the rink. I just have so much energy, but trying to bring that every day, is what I tried to do my senior year. And unfortunately, we came up short. But I think I think it was tough because we at times, like, you don't know until you're that age what one game means, or how important every single game is. Like, we had a game that year we lost to Brown. Brown swept us, and Cornell was the only, it's like one of their only wins that year. And you look back and you look at the NCAA tournament and who made it, and we needed to have won one more game to have made the tournament. And you look back and kind of when that happened, when we lost, like, us seniors, we were really upset. It was, not what was expected of us. And we were feeling, like we were letting people down. So just kind of rallying together and trying to get people on board and teach the young ones, like, hey, it
Mhm.
flies by. You can't take any of it for granted. So every game's so important.
Well, I will say the freshmen now are now seniors, and they're a big reason why Colgate is one of the best teams in the country. So
Yeah.
I will say that must be a good feeling for you. They took that experience and are now being successful today.
Yeah, it's awesome to talk to them and see where they've come. I text them, and when I was home, I was up at Colgate a bunch and seeing them. So I'm kind of bummed. I wish I could go home in February and see their senior day. But I don't think it's going to end up working out. We do have a break in our schedule, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go home or not. So, I always am rooting for them and still try to reach out. And, I mean, I talk to them all the time, but just know, like, yeah, you're still there for each other. And it's so fun to watch, like, just knowing they have so much support from us still. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
must make you feel sad that after this year you're not gonna know anyone on the team, right?
Yeah. Luckily at Colgate, we know quite a few of the up and coming kids just from, I mean, and obviously we don't know them well. We didn't play with them, but we did a lot of camps at Colgate, and I ran a lot of camps in the summer. So I still know quite a few. They're
Mhm.
starting to trickle out.
Mhm.
But maybe in 2 years, I'm not going to know anybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, no, that's just the reality of college, I guess, but that's
yeah,
something that, I don't know, it's kinda weird to think about. But when you
yeah, of
look back on your whole career with, Colgate, what do you take away from your time there? And, just talk about your final game as well. Of course, it had to be Clarkson, but, um,
course.
what emotions were you feeling? And I think reflecting on that time now, what'd you take away from your whole college hockey experience?
Yeah, it was incredible. You wish you could have 4 more years. It teaches you a lot. It wasn't easy. I mean, it's a love hate sometimes with everything. With life, it can get you. It can get frustrating. But I learned so much. I couldn't even tell you, like, if I had to name one thing, but just, life experiences, going through tough times, knowing how to overcome obstacles, challenges, adversity, you name it. It really sets you up for so much success in life to come. And not to mention, like, the connections and the bonds that you have with so many people. Not I mean, especially just Division I athletes in hockey in general, but especially at Colgate. Like, we connected with so many alum while I was there, and hockey specific alum, and just, people that attended Colgate. And so I'm extremely lucky. I wish I could go back. If I could go back, I'd make the same decision again in a heartbeat. We didn't win any championships. We didn't, come out on top in any of my years, but I wouldn't have changed it, for the world. And I honestly think, it made me a better person. And I, yeah, it's a loss for words thinking about it. I miss it, and I wish I could go back. Like, all these kids are getting a fifth year because of COVID. And obviously I felt terrible for them, because they didn't get to experience college and life the way we did in hockey, especially. But I wish I could have a fifth year, that's for sure, or a new four.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't know how to transition from that, but we're now in the non-hockey segment of the podcast where I ask you some non-hockey questions, just get to know you a little bit. So first one is, what music are you interested in?
Yeah, I wasn't a big music person for a period of time in my life for whatever reason. I don't know. But I listen to anything, like pop, whatever the hits are. Like, I wouldn't say I'm huge. I'll listen to country. But I definitely am not the person to put on the aux.
Yeah.
uh, I know a lot of songs, I know the lyrics and everything. I couldn't tell you who wrote it. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but I like music, and I like listening to it. It's just, it gives me anxiety to be on the aux, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I like being on the aux just because I have
Okay.
control of what's getting played. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's just my opinion on that. But
Fair.
in Sweden, I know they have a lot of cool EDM artists are from that part of
Mhm.
the Europe, and I'm a big EDM fan. Is it like is that like a popular type of music there? Like, I feel like that would be something that's cool.
Yeah, it seems like it a bit. It's actually funny. We maybe because of COVID, there weren't concerts and stuff, so we didn't really hear a lot about it. They're starting to have concerts again, I think. But yeah, we don't listen to a ton of music that's Swedish, or Swedish artists specifically, or whatnot. But yeah, they so much of it is, what the same kind of music we listen to in the States and in North America in general, I guess. But yeah, I couldn't even tell you,
Yeah,
because we we don't listen. It's usually one of the North Americans on the aux anyway. So
yeah.
yeah.
Now, who was the funniest teammate you have ever played with at Colgate? And I would like to add to this, I had Rosie Demers on the podcast this past
Mhm.
summer, and she said that you were the funniest teammate she's ever played with. And
Wow.
so
An honor.
I wanted to tell you that first because I thought you probably were the funniest person on the team. But who's second place? I
That's an
guess.
honor. That is wow. I'm gonna have to text her. Um, who is the funniest? I mean, that is a tough question, but oh, Megan Sullivan, maybe? Just an absolute beauty in
Yeah,
every sense of the word. Her, Shelby Perry, I'd have to, it's tough. They were the class above me. I mean, Hannah Rastrick was funny. She was a junior, but I'd have to go with Sully and Shelby, and especially them as a duo, like absolute gems. They were hilarious. And we always had a great time together. Um, when I mean, when I was a senior, then we had like freshmen come in. They were characters at their class. They had some characters, Rosie and Tanner in their class, and it was definitely fun to get them going.
yeah. No. I thought I had to mention that to you, and I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Did you tell any jokes that stood out that year? I'm assuming.
I don't think so. That the winner of the joke award would have to go to Shay Lobby. We had some running inside jokes with the team, and she's so funny. When you get Shay going, she can't stop laughing. So she was telling jokes on the bus one day, and she couldn't get the joke out. She just kept laughing through it. So I'm gonna give Shay the crown for the best joke. I was just messing around always. I was always having fun. So maybe that's why Rosie uh, gave me the win. But yeah, it was. I probably should have been a little bit more serious sometimes, but
Yeah. I don't
it
know.
worked.
I just remember she saying, "Yeah, Olivia Zafuto was one of the funniest teammates I've ever played with." So,
Love that. I love that.
I had to mention that to you. Now, I know we kind of talked about this, but who had the best style on the team?
Mm, Probably Annika.
Yeah.
Annika's lucky. Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
was the best chirper on the team? I feel like you probably were.
Yeah. My junior senior year, I did a fair amount of chirping. My dad probably wasn't too happy about it, but The best chirper. You know, I mean, like we I'd probably go back to to Sully and Shelby maybe. No, not so much in games and stuff, but we all kind of knew in practice what to say to each other that might get you going. But even like Jesse Eldridge, like we all were just joking around all the time. But I would have to say probably those two again. And yeah.
If you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
I was thinking about this question, and honestly, it was a hard question, but I was thinking like right off the bat, Derek Jeter. I'm a big, I love sports, and or I did love the Yankees. I still love I mean, I'm not as big of a baseball fan as I was as a kid, but loved the Yankees, and it is kind of like a family thing for us. All my cousins, my aunts, uncles, like we all loved the Yankees. My grandpa, so maybe it was passed down that way. But my cousin had a dog they actually named Jeter, so just big Derek Jeter fans. On like probably like all-time favorite athlete. Just amazing, so I'd go with Derek Jeter.
Yeah, he's accomplished like everything. He's a Hall of Famer, won World
Yeah.
Series. I think he has a family now. Like he's accomplished everything. I don't know like what else he can do
Yeah.
now.
No, yeah, he's got it all. I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
No, I'm a huge Red Sox fan, as you probably are aware of, and I hated Derek Jeter. Like him and A-Rod were like my least favorite athletes, and I was a
Fair.
huge David Ortiz fan.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird it was like kind of cool just to see that rivalry. I don't know if you
yeah,
probably were the opposite. You probably hated Big Papi,
yeah,
but I loved him.
exactly. Yeah, fun. Obviously we'd go to we went to a baseball game and Red Sox Yankees at Fenway when A-Rod returned after his suspension from the
Oh yeah.
steroids, and they threw at him, and there's a
Oh yeah, I remember that game.
hearing. Oh, we were there. It was unbelievable. We had our Yankees stuff on. Well, my brother had his jersey on. I just wore colors. We weren't sure what to expect, but it was really cool, really fun experience to be at that game. So,
Yeah.
yeah, funny. We hate Boston sports.
Oh, I love that. That's how I
Yeah,
fell in love.
name it. Yeah,
Yeah. I just
yeah.
remember David Ortiz. He hit a home run against the Yankees, and it was so awesome when in 2018 when the Red Sox eliminated the Yankees. That's the year they like won their last World Series. It was just awesome. Like you beat it. It was great winning the World Series, but also eliminating the Yankees. It doesn't get better than that. And I will say, I think the Red Sox have been the best team, better than the Yankees in the past like 10 years or so.
Yeah, yeah. The Yankees have been struggling lately.
But hopefully it continues that way. I know you disagree with me on that, but
Yeah, I won't hope for that, but for your
yeah,
sake, maybe.
yeah. So, and then last non-hockey question, since it is Thanksgiving, what's your favorite Thanksgiving meal?
Best part. Oof. Big mashed potato fan.
Yeah.
Um, I love mashed, like plain potato, mashed sweet potato, you name it. And there's actually a dish that my grandma at home makes, like a cranberry relish that it's so good. I'm definitely missing it today, but yeah, I'll survive without it, and maybe for the best that I'm not home eating all the two meals and all the food that I would be.
Yeah, I
So
know. I'm a big roll guy. I don't think that gets talked about enough. Like those Pillsbury.
so
I don't
good.
know. I have like
Yeah,
5 of them. It's
yeah,
pretty bad, but I love them a lot.
yeah, they are good.
Now, transitioning back to hockey questions, we got one more hockey question, or just one more question in general, but I think this is a good question to ask you. But what should be done to help grow women's hockey?
Yeah, it's the $1 million question right now. Just trying to work with exposure. If you can't if you can't see it, how are you gonna know it's out there? Young girls, trying to get kids involved. They got to be able to see it. So definitely exposure in the media and whatnot. And I think the NHL has obviously stepped up a bit, but continuing to grow a relationship with the NHL will go a long way, because obviously they have that media and the connections with an audience already. So it's tough. We need the infrastructure. Like I left the U.S. to come to Sweden to play, and the infrastructure's here, but you're still missing stuff. Like, you think Sweden or Europe was so ahead and whatnot, but you know, still treated the same as you'd think back home. Maybe even in some cases, like, you don't have as much say, like, it doesn't feel like you can speak up as much here, or anything's really gonna get done regarding it. But just exposure, you gotta get people to see it, and able to grow the game. So I hope, we hope, and we'll continue to hope, and do what we can in the community to get girls involved, and to grow our fan base. So that's
Mhm.
all we can do for now.
Well, I think that's a great way to end off the podcast. But do you have any shout outs you'd like to give to any of your teammates, family members, friends? I know we mentioned a few people throughout the interview, but if
Yeah.
there's anyone we might have forgotten to mention, feel free to shout them out now.
Oh man, I could go on for days with shout outs, but I just, yeah, no, I wouldn't say anybody in particular. I was very lucky with all the people in my life, and the teammates that I had, pretty incredible people. And obviously I'm forever thankful for my parents, for everything, my brother, for everything they did for me, growing up, and playing, and giving me every opportunity, as when I was young, going to high school and to college, like, wouldn't be anywhere without them. I have a big family at home too, grandparents, aunts, uncles. It's pretty crazy. I call them after games here, and they're all watching together still. So I'm super lucky, to have the support I do. So yeah, I can't single anybody out, but those people know, if they heard it, they would know, like, yeah, that that's I'm lucky to have them. So
Well, I would like to shout out Sydney Broad since you are teammates, and tell her that I said hi. But thank you so
I
much
will.
for coming on the podcast, Olivia. I really appreciate it. It was great talking with you about your career, and I wish you nothing but the best moving forward in your professional career. I know you're going to do great, and happy Thanksgiving. And thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And if you ever come back to the U.S., I'll try to see you play in person.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Happy Thanksgiving. This was awesome. So enjoy your day.